Welcome to Embracing Infinity, exploring the infinite oneness in the space of love and truth. Host Jennifer Rose is an international spiritual medium, healer, channeler, mentor, and transformational guide. Her focus is encouraging individuals to know themselves within the lens of their divine heart and highest potential, to evolve within the frequency of love and peaceful harmony. Now, here's your host, Jennifer Rose.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Embracing Infinity. I'm Jennifer Rose, and so happy to be back with you this beautiful summer Friday. Again, the sun is shining. It's getting nice and warm here in Cali, but we're loving it, and we're loving the ocean breeze and all good things coming with the blooms and the trees and so forth. But I'm so happy to be on with you again, and I'm so happy to be having our special guests, Debbie Romero and Nancy Muratalla, coming on shortly to join me too. They are part of my beautiful angel team on my Sunday spiritual service for the love of spirit every other Sunday. And a few weeks ago, we had Miss Fran Pierce and Miss Melinda Oling on. And so I wanted to bring on the other half as well. So we've got Debbie and Nancy coming on. Speaking of Sunday service, we do have one this Sunday, and Miss Nancy is also going to be our medium, and we're very excited to have her be giving our messages from our loved ones in spirit this Sunday. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. in the UK. And Miss Fran Pierce, who usually does most of our spiritual poetry quite often, will be our guest speaker. So we're very excited to have her be giving her talk. There she is. Hi, Miss Fran. And yours truly, I'm the host, but I'm going to also be doing the poetry for this one too. So we have a really beautiful, just lovely service planned. Hope that you all can make it. And speaking of announcements, please come on at 1 p.m. to see Kelly Brickle on her show coming up shortly. Debbie is also on her show, Transcend with Debbie, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. So we hope that you can join us for that. With that, all of our beautiful friends are joining, so let me get my eyes on so I could say hi to everybody. Mr. 53 Abani, hello, nice to see you again. Hello, Jack, thanks for joining us. Hi, Isabel, thanks for coming. There's Miss Jennifer McCormick, hello, hello. There's Mr. Ronnie Shabazian, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Hello, Fulham Spiritualist Church, you're all here. Thank you so much. We're all friends across the pond supporting each other. It's the most beautiful thing. There's Miss Maggie Martin. Hi, Maggie. How's it going over there on the East Coast? Are you enjoying the sunshine and the water? And Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see you. And Miss Fran. There's Erica. Hi, Erica. Look, all of our friends are here. So again, thank you all for being here today. I appreciate you all so much, and I feel all of your love and your energy. So we're going to have a really fun hour together. And let me see. And Debbie is just joining us as well from Houston. Nice to see you, Debbie. So welcome again, everybody. And as we get started, I can feel like Spirit will kind of coming in and making their little presence known to kind of just take over things for a little while. But how have you all been? It's we are now, at a little past the halfway point of the year, and it's gone by really, really fast. And we've had a lot of changes. I've noticed that a lot of people that I know and work with are going through some pretty big changes right now, pretty significant, life-altering moments. And Spirit is continuing to keep pushing us forward, nudging us, maybe pushing us, maybe shoving us, whatever it feels like in the moment, forward in life. And I think about it sometimes from the soul or the higher self's perspective. And at the end of the day, whatever we want to call universe, creator, soul, spirit, it's all one, because it's all of that divine higher consciousness that is us, living as us, as I often like to say. But could it be that, in this lifetime, which is very, very short in comparison to the all that is and the all of time, could it be that in this lifetime we want to make the most of it possible, get the most experience that we can? And by experience, it doesn't have to be like just those big moments like, going skydiving or, traveling the world or things like that. But experience can also be the quiet moments in the park with a friend as well. So, but could it be that we're trying to get as much as we can in this lifetime? Hi, Gwendolyn. Good to see you, love. You're so beautiful yourself, my dear. Thank you. Um, and with that, I was drawn to Spirit drew me to T.S. Eliot and kind of guided me over yonder. And he is a writer, philosopher, playwright, essayist, very known for his and very well respected for his poetry. Bit of a rebel too, I'd like to say. So all of our favorite things, right, everybody? um, And one of the things that he said, I've got a whole list of beautiful quotes I picked out with spirits, so I'm never sure where they're going to draw me to. But one of the, actually, I'm going to give you two things that he brought to my attention. And one is this. He says, only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. Let's just take that one in for a minute. I'm going to read it again. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. And doesn't that bring us, think of it this way, of where that will take the mind, but I'd also invite you to where that can take the heart also, to bring you into that essence of limitlessness, into the beyond what we think is possible, beyond what we believe and feel that we know, because knowing can continue to change. And then there's that, what is it that I call it? I've lost my train of thought. Forgive me, because it's with spirit is with me. It's the cannot deny. That's where you get to the past the knowing, into the cannot deny. And Eliot also says some things become possible if we want them bad enough. And so these two things, if we put them together, we start thinking about endless possibilities. We start to think about beyond the space that we are in right now, that there might be more. And I don't want to say that more is always better, but just more expansion of the mind, but also with the heart. And I say that because if we get too much into the intellectual, we can lose sometimes the purpose and the meaning and that graceful love that is driving that knowledge, because knowledge can be empty if it isn't applied in a way that is very meaningful to our experience as a human soul. They go together. And so we have talked throughout these last few months about how do we want to live our lives? What is it that we want? And these are really, really big questions that you think would be easy to answer. And sometimes they are. Sometimes it just comes down to a basic simplicity, which is we all want to love and be loved, right? And then there's this other container that goes with that, that is part of that journey of loving and being loved. It is, call it the story, the stage, the play itself that we are all living. And this is driving the love and be loved experience that we have here as the soulful human, right? And so let's think about that and feel into that. The love and be loved, and the story, the adventure, the epic adventure as you who are loving and being loved, and what that looks like for you. How can the story support the best loving, the most incredible loving, and the most receiving of that love back. So I hope you're with me on this. And this is coming to me kind of, I'm just channeling it right now. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it myself and take it in for my own personality here. But think about that, our adventure, your life, your epic adventure, right? The story that you're telling and how marvelous and expansive it can be beyond our limits, beyond what we think is possible. We can go into that beyond if we just open up to it. And that is where it can get a little bit scary sometimes, because we all know, who have been on the spiritual awakening path and have been through the dark night of the soul, we know that that outer limits feels like, it feels like going into no man's land, because you're breaking away from your personality, your belief systems, what you thought everything was for you, where you thought your life was going, what you thought your story was telling you. And all of that can just get knocked down like a tower out of nowhere, right? And this lets us know of the impermanence of life, but yet it is continuous and beautiful and has deep meaning and purpose to it as well. It also lets us know that there is this beautiful divine intelligence that drives this story of us, this love of us, this continuous evolution of love that we are all on together. And there are things that we may not understand that happen, but this is where the faith comes in. I was having lunch with some beautiful friends a few days ago, and what caught my eye is this one gal walked out of the store that was by where we were enjoying our lunch by the water, and her sweatshirt said, "Faith can move mountains." And it struck out, and we all kind of, had a moment to contemplate that together. And it was really just a quiet, lovely moment that we have. And isn't that right along the lines of, only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go? Sometimes things become possible if we want them bad enough. So it goes along those lines. And he's added his little flavor to it with the way that he channels his words. And so we may take those words in and we may want to just, adjust them a little so they fit for us. And that's perfectly fine. Because the important thing is we take what we need and what helps us in the moment, like a Renerry chain, indeed, and use it for how we can move forward in our lives and tell our stories too. I want to take just a quick little break and say hi to our guests that have joined us. Laura, Angel of Hope, what a lovely name. Cheyenne, what a lovely name too. Beautiful. Lily Rose, welcome. And Jess, hey everybody. And I'm going to leave you with this last little bit. He talks a lot about time, and we spoke about that last week with Miss Dana Louise from Australia, who was on. We were talking about time and divine timing and how intelligent it is and how it makes things happen for us that we cannot deny, that we cannot explain, that we know things had to work out and be orchestrated so perfectly to get us there to that moment, right? Time is an illusion, and it's elusive, yet it's the most precious thing that we have as us. It's very mysterious. And this is where it gets to be fun when we talk about poetry and philosophy and spirituality, because once we get into the mystical of it, that opens up all the possibility, does it not? It really is. And it's where it gets really exciting to be us and to be in that expansion, because with the mystical, there we are with the heart as well. So, okay. Time, time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. What might have been and what has been point to one end, which is always present. Footfalls echo in the memory, down the passage which we did not take, towards the door we never opened, and into the rose garden. Isn't that beautiful? And I do invite us to think about the passages we don't take and the doors we don't open. Some of these are meant to be, and some of these, perhaps, if we open up to more limitlessness, we may find more of that soulful courage in us to walk through one of them and make those big changes. They're not easy to do, but that courage exists. It is the fire that breathes through your soul that helps you to make the most of this reality, this beautiful dream that you are living while you are in it. And to bring it back into something just a little more simple, because I always want to make sure that we acknowledge the simple moments can be the most beautiful. He says, time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions and for 100 visions and revisions before the taking of a toast and a tea. It's really quite beautiful. And the ponderings of the mind, the flutterings of a butterfly's wings as it moves on into the trees. They go and they go in little circles, and it's all so beautiful. And we've been questioning reality these last few months. What is real? And it's always going to be changing. And we wonder, is this reality real? Or is that reality real? Which one? They're both dreams, aren't they? But yet, as the dreamer of us, the divine intelligence, that part that is all that is, ever was, and will be, that is you, is real. So if you are dreaming it, it is real for you. If you are living it, it is real for you. It is all part of the divine tapestry of your story and all the other stories that you're connected to. And that's pretty mysterious, and that's pretty fascinating as well, isn't it? So, one last quote from T.S. Eliot. At the still point, in between the thoughts and the feelings, where you get to that little quiet moment, at the still point, there the dance is. Right there. So, my friends, dance well, make it count. This life is short, so put all your heart into it. So with that, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was in one of those modes today, as you can tell, but I got the spirit helping me, putting me in that mood. Thank you again. I want to welcome Bernie. He's come on. Thanks for joining us, Bernie. Katie, thanks for coming on. And everybody is all here. Beautiful. I know you come here excited to see. Hello, the dragon energy. Oh yes, Bernie, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. That's been on the that has been on the menu for a couple of shows already. You're very welcome, Isabel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, I am so excited to bring two very dear friends on. And again, they're part of For the Love of Spirit of my Sunday service that I started back in 2020. But they are also beautiful souls, beautiful friends of mine that I am honored to have in my life. And we're going to just see what beauty we can all share together with all of you here today. And again, thank you so much for being here. I love, love, love you guys so much. With that, Debbie and Nancy, come on in, gals.
Yay!
Hello.
Hi.
How are we
Hello.
doing? Okay, there we go. Our pictures all got moved around, so that was fun. Okay, now I think the giggles might start going on here too. but beautiful. All of your friends are here to see you. So if you guys just make sure you can see the comments over in the chat box, because I want you to see you've got all of this beautiful support that's come on for you here today. Jen saying, hey, Debbie and Nancy. So the girls are all here today. And how are you both doing today, this Friday?
Go ahead, Nancy.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And you're right. Like, we have such a great bond together, and it's such a pleasure when we get to be together like this. So thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's an honor for me too. Like Karen Perry just came on and joined us, and Noreen's here too. There's Miss Fran. It's an honor to have you both. I've known you both for several years now, and we've become friends in the most beautiful way and very bonded for life. So we're just soul sisters and a group of angels trying to make the world better and the best that we can. And we're all growing together within ourselves and with each other. And we've all been be able to support each other along the way, which has been the most beautiful thing. Not everybody has that, and I hope that everybody does have that. So Karen's saying she's waving like you can see me.
Hey,
Susan.
girl.
Hey, Tari, look, good to see you, girl. And there's Sierra. Hi. So if anybody's new to the show, we're all mediums, and we're healers and teachers and doing our journey along the way, and we're just here to have some fun. Here's Jack, West Coast Angels in town.
That's
All the Kelly
right.
girls are here. All the Kelly girls are here.
Shout out to Jack.
Indeed. So, girls.
Yes.
I talked about some of our favorite things, which are, pretty words and the mysterious. Debbie's rubbing her nose there. and good thoughts and feelings. What are some of your favorite things?
Debbie?
Go ahead, babe. Go ahead. I'll go after.
By the way, that was all so enlightening and so beautiful. And, I have really been concentrating for quite some time on, and it's pretty simple, but, turning your pain into purpose, I think is like such a valuable way to express yourself. And, even like the why does this happen to me all the time? And versus looking at it as more of a teaching moment. And I really feel like it's more of a mindset shift. If you kind of just look a little bit deeper into the whys and the how comes, I think, it eases us a little bit better and makes life so much easier and loving and healing and supportive. And, as you mentioned, Jennifer, like, having people in your life that are loving and supportive, like, know who your people are, because it makes a world of difference to have that love and support around you, because you'll know if it's not that, and run for the hills.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely we definitely need our tribe. And I love what you said about turning pain into purpose, because if we can make meaning out of what we go through, so it doesn't feel like it's gone in vain, and that is the collective evolution, how we turn something bad into something good by making meaning out of it, doing something positive with it, and making the world better and making ourselves better. Well done. Thank you, Nancy.
Out of tragedy, out of pain, the beauty always comes out of it. Right. And even when we have natural disasters or unfortunate events, which is really not obviously not a great thing, but look at the community that comes out of it. Look at the love that comes out of it. Mm-hmm. How everybody ends up bonding together and pitching in and helping one another. Where I think sometimes we feel like we're all against each other, and sometimes we need those little gentle reminders that we're all one. We're all on the same path. We're all here together, and, to love and support each other.
Right.
Yeah, very true. I think those natural disasters, people forget their politics and their religions and all their, belief systems, and we all have to take care of each other. And those are the hero moments. You think about it, those are chances for our spirits to be heroes and do very courageous and brave things we might not otherwise find the courage to do, right? So they give us moments, they give us opportunities that we wouldn't otherwise have. Very, very true. Very well said too. I love your favorite things. You went deep.
Well, sorry. It's even as simple as, like by day, I'm an Esker manager. And, I feel like it's a great responsibility to be, a manager, somebody who comes to you, somebody who relies on you. they're expecting that support from you. And, you know, I've had some great teachers, including Jennifer. I've also had great teachers in my career world where, you know, you turn it into a positive, you turn it into a learning moment, a teaching moment. You don't lead by fear. You don't live your life, you know, wanting to, you know, rebel and shout out against people, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're up against. And, you know, give them some gentleness and, you know, give them the grace that they deserve.
Yeah. Sometimes we turn people into enemies when they're really not. They're just going through their own,
More
looking
to
through
the
their own
story.
lens of perception, having their own experience, and they could be under high stress. Their nervous system's agitated. And if we just knew the whole story, we would find compassion a lot easier. Very well
Right.
done. Everybody's relating to what you guys are saying too. So
Breaking the walls down again, right?
yeah. And it takes, you know, it takes on our part the growth of self-awareness and the self-care to help us to be able to do that as well. And then when we go through hard things, we can relate to people, and we can chill more because we understand how hard life is for everybody too. So very, very true. We went deep fast. Miss Debbie, what
Yes,
are your
girl.
favorite things, love? What would you
Wow.
like to add?
You know, there's a lot of different things that go through my awareness as both of you are talking. You know, we all have our own perception and belief and traumas and tragedies. And, you know, you're taking the journey within, and we're all getting those downloads. You know, Jennifer, you took us into the time is limited, right? Unlimited. Like, we have this access to so much energy and so much life force that's out there. But it's important to understand, how are you going to use all that energy? You know, how are you going to anchor it? How are you going to work with it? It's so beautiful when we're going from plane to plane to plane, and we're very mystical and we're all in the joy and love. But in reality, what's taking you there is the trauma and the darkness of what your soul is needing. Our soul excels higher because we're needing that energy to take us to the tower moments and the transformations. And sometimes when those events occur, we don't look at it as like we're in a healing stage. We're looking at it like, oh man, we're in it. And it's hard to seek solace and peace. And it's hard to, you know, in reality, I've had tragic events. I've had mudslides. I had my home affected. I've experienced tragedy in many ways. And I can tell you, I was not in that set mind of saying, how do I bring peace to myself? I was like, are you safe? You safe? Let me go handle this. And it was like, let me take care of business. So you have to go through the moments of the stages. So like you said, Jennifer, our nervous system is taking the hit, whether it's through a tragedy event or whether it's a loss of a loved one or it's a loss of self. We are going through different transformations in life. And this is where we don't remember to be gentle. We are not reminded to take care of ourselves. We're actually fighting the energy and going against the grain. And we're learning to work with the dense energies because we have no choice but to be in it. And so giving yourself a moment to reflect, to pause, when your body is going into those planes of like, oh, I see this, or I feel that, or I'm downloading this, or this color's coming in, and this energy that we're downloading of mystical love that you speak of, because everything is love. When we're in it, it's giving you that vibration to heal, whether it's healing to see your loved one, whether it's healing from your guides, or whether it's healing because your spirit is leaving that shedding that old, and you're going in transformation. Honoring the journey without judgment, honoring thyself without fear is a hard process. But we sit here and we talk about love and we talk about goodness and sweetness, but there is a tough road when you're in that, and we don't talk often about that. So let's also understand to honor the ugly, to honor the difficult moments, and to honor the shedding of the loss of the love of self or the loved one or whatever you are battling, and give it grace when you're in that, because we want it to be pretty and we want it to work and we want it to fit and unfold in a beautiful way, but that's unrealistic without the hard work that comes with it. So we have to balance what's real, because Jennifer, you spoke, it's all real, and it is. How do we balance that fine line of dance that we do between our world and the spirit world? Is so difficult, but it's a dance and it's a journey and it's love. And so that is what goes through my head when both of you ladies speak on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to, leave you with the thought of it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to understand that things get better. And yes, Jack, warriors. And it's okay. Alec, and it's okay to be a goddess, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody's really relating to, and what you speak of too, this impermanence that we have, the constant building up and the destruction and the building up and the destruction. I've always said that darkness was my best teacher. It's a badass kick you on your, to the floor and stomp on you kind of teacher, but it will teach you what you're made of too. Elliot also said, we die to each other daily. What we know of other people is only our memory of the moments during which we knew them. And they have changed since then. To pretend that they and we are the same is a useful and convenient social convention, which must sometimes be broken. We must also remember that at every meeting, we are meeting a stranger. So this consistent fluidity of self that we are. We've talked often about the multidimensional self and how we're always changing from thought to thought, day to day and moment to moment, yet we remember each other, right? We do remember each other too. Isabel totally resonates with me at this present moment. Yeah. And therefore, one thing that comes to mind, and I love to bounce this off the two of you and everybody here who's watching, is the concept of forgiveness and the concept of being open to the darkness and embracing the light and the dark. One of the reasons people say, oh, those persons, they emanate so much light, it's because they've learned the dark. They've understood the dark. We've embraced it. We've given love to it instead of rejecting it, instead of being fearful of it. We've learned to be the hero of that story too. And it's not an easy one to do. But that does give us the expanded awareness to understand that we are ever changing present selves. Can we hold people consistently responsible for their past, for who they used to be versus who they are now? It's a way of looking at things. Alice, when Alice was on with us too, she said people tell her she's too forgiving, and I'm like, yeah, that's me too. They think we're too forgiving because we turn the other cheek. But you understand, we understand people change and grow and have different moments. And, if it wasn't for sometimes the darker parts of other people, because it is the people that we love who hurt us most. Yeah. Mostly it's the people we love who hurt us the most sometimes. But what does that teach us? What does it teach us about ourselves? What an opportunity for unconditional love and forgiveness. Right, those are big things. You can go on social media and it'll tell you, no, just get rid of that person, shut them out of your life, There's a lot of very black and white thinking. We're not like that.
And that's so not realistic. It's like, it takes a minute for a woman, if let's say an example, as I'm holding space and I watch others try to work through their relationships. And some people will say, you just got to leave the situation. Sometimes people don't have the finances to get up and go, or someone's lifestyle is they have to deal with coworkers they don't get along with. And there is an environment which allows you're placed in where it's beyond your control. What you're control of is how you react, how you manage yourself. You speak of the nervous system, and we are spiritual beings. But it's important to manage your energy, yourself, how we react and how we process and how we're collectively picking up. It's all of that. It's your physical being, your emotional, your mental. We don't talk often. We just want spirit to save it and correct it. But where are you in your own self? How are you acknowledging it with your own emotions, your own physical being? And how are you moving through the waves? We have to take accountability as well. And not only that, but allow our bodies to heal if we're triggered. Where in this is in my body am I being triggered, and why does this hurt me? And then, forgiveness, the Ho'oponopono prayer when I started my journey, and one of my beautiful mentors, is ultimately love. We lose love and we want love again. And so, the Ho'oponopono prayer, she comes and she gives me that third eye kiss, and she holds me and she's rattling over me, and she gets her drum, and I lay on her crystal bed, and I'm laying there with her singing to my soul. because our soul has been wounded from some parts of our inner etheric body. It's needing to be mended, yes, with forgiveness. As the Ho'oponopono prayer is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Do we embrace the flaws and the things within ourselves that we have acknowledged that stand out? We have to love every bit of our blueprint of who we are, and that's difficult. So difficult, but yet so easy.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed. Yeah. So simple, yet such a journey.
And, you know, I will say, you know, for those who have mastered being someone who easily forgives, that's a gift. And not only that, but like you're hurting your body when you're holding on to the anger, the frustration, the madness of it all. And, you know, we've all heard forgiveness is for ourselves. It's not for the other person. And, you know, gosh, if you're mastered being a person who easily forgives, gosh, can you write down the recipe for the rest of us? Put it in a little magic bottle.
Right. I think go ahead, Jennifer.
Over time. It comes over time, but I think there's an awareness in you. It helps if you're born with a deep level of empathy, which most of us here are, right? Are empaths, right? So when you have a deep level of empathy, there's something that's switched on that I think makes it helpful. There is a balance of sometimes we in our minds can make, in our certain situations, in our minds can distort our experiences to where we're looking at something that's happened or something that's been said, and we can distort it to assume the worst, of that person, and that's really not what's happening. We just don't know. We don't, because there's been misunderstanding. And then sometimes maybe assume the best when maybe those person's intentions weren't good and we just, didn't want to admit it. That's where we get in a little bit more of a micro level with that. But with spiritual, growth and self-awareness growth and learning, to move with your heart combined with the intelligence of your mind, what I would say the higher mind of you too, we get there too. But we talked about this in the show with Immaculée, who survived the Rwanda genocide, and she was full of forgiveness. She did not want to be like the people who killed her people, all of her people. She was one of the last few survival, and I'm like, if she can forgive,
Wow.
if she can forgive, surely we can too. We do not need to make people enemies in this world.
So what does forgiveness look like to you, right? Yeah. It may present itself in different ways. I receive this, I forgive this, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be hugging and being all loving. It means that you've allowed this energy to move through your awareness in a different way. It can come in many forms. So we speak of forgiveness, and we all want to be acknowledged and say, I'm sorry. I reacted out of my emotions, or I wasn't thinking clearly, or, we all have these moments where like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that. But really, at the end of the day, how you hold on to the energy and how you transmute it or how you acknowledge it is going to give it grace. It's going to give it understanding. It's going to give it its purpose of why that happened. As Nancy says, we have to look at the lessons. We have to take the experiences, and, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It just means you can look and carry it a different way. So we walk around, all of us, with different stories, our impressions, our structures. We hold on to grief and we hold it in a form, but it doesn't affect us because we know that it's there. And for me anyways, I'm going to speak on my behalf. I know I can see my traumas. I can see my life experiences, and I can look at it in a way and say, there's that saying, it takes me to my mother, man, she can wear those rocks like diamonds. And it doesn't mean that the rocks did not occur. Those situations did not occur. We just made them graceful. We made them pretty. We made them shine. And it's that transformation that Jennifer speaks of, And so we all work and walk with our energies, and we have them in our face, in our auric field. And it's a true gift if you're willing to look at them. It's a true gift if you're willing to dive into the stories. Doesn't mean every story needs to be touched. It just means that you have to look at it and say, that happened, okay, that came up, all right, I get it. And then this is where the love comes in, because you probably needed a hug. Probably needed someone to say it was okay. And I get emotional saying this because I could feel even those that are in here listening, even myself, we probably have experienced things that have been so difficult where we didn't have the support. And so this is where we look to God and we look to the miracles and we look to spirit to fill in the void that we don't have in the presence. And so I get emotional again because it's important to know that you are a spirit and you can do this. All of you guys that are in here can take time to find a routine or some sense of care that will take you to the steps of transformation, because we don't have a choice. The tower will fall regardless. It's a matter of when and how.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
This is part of our destiny too. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I know. I want to say hi to Mary, who's joined us. Infinity's joined us as well. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody too. And Kelly was saying to hold on to things that are not even our truth. Forgiveness helps me come back to simplicity, and it's too heavy to hold on to things. Yeah, very true. Very true too. I think we move through the pain, and we don't deny the pain. We move through the pain, and then we can come back, back to the other side of that too. But you're right, Debbie, because there are moments where it's just going to be you and God, spirit, where, you've got your friends processed and moved on to love and learn. Well said, Jack. Thank you. You've got your friends, but there are going to be moments where they're not there. It's you and God, and you're in that moment. And that is where the hand of grace kind of steps in and picks you back up off the ground again, and it's like, well, you survived that. Look, you're still here, all in one piece.
You're right.
Even better. Build that tower back up again, add more sparkles.
Yeah, definitely. I love that, definitely love that.
And, depending on the circumstances too, it might be so personal for you that, you may not even be comfortable sharing it with anyone, but it's a battle that you're kind of going in. You're in it, like you feel alone. And it's so intense and you don't know what to do with it. And, a lot of times we're all very guilty of just kind of shoving things down and not addressing them. But, Debbie spoke about the tower. Eventually it's going to come crumbling down if we don't kind of try to move through it and work through it and acknowledge it and dissect it however we need to get to the other side of it, because it's going to affect relationships. It's going to affect our health. It's going to affect all of those pieces of us that we're here to have joy and healing. And, granted, I think healing is a lifelong journey. I don't think healing happens overnight to anyone. I think it is a constant healing and growth for all of us. But it's not easy. We're all in it. We get it.
Right. I think it's a lifestyle. I think when we get the nut, for me anyways, what I have witnessed is we all get a nudge or a knock, like Jennifer gets her knocks, and we get the knock and we want the change. And all of us still want the grief. We all want peace. We want to be in that solace and harmony. Nobody wants to be in the disharmony. And if they're battling something personal with circumstances, whether someone has a form of an illness or an addiction or there's financial, all of these things of foundation play a factor in our way our body chemically is going to respond. And so if we're looking at the body, we also have to look at self-care. How are you going to get the toxins out of your body? How are you going to move the energy? If it's in our face at all times, because it's part of who we are, you can't take away an experience, but you can change its form. So you could change the form with love, and that is bringing in the love and harmonizing it by loving every ounce of who you are in every story. You give it love and you feed it love so that the transformation of the denser energies in the disharmony melts away. I went into a house, and this house was being brought to my awareness right now, and you're going to have many different experiences in a home where arguments happen, fights happen, illnesses, deaths have occurred, have left sorrow. And it can manifest and grow if you feed it with darkness and anger and frustration and hate. That energy will be fed by that frequency and energy. So it's important when someone asks, Debbie, what do I do? You love even harder. You love the people that are there. This woman's prayers protected and changed the energy of this home because this mother just had the love of her children. And so if you want something to change, it requires how we move with the energy in a different way. And that is transformation.
Amen, sister, to that. People asked me years ago, how do you clear a room? And I'm like, fill it with love and laughter. That's how you clear a room. It's really that simple. And one of our guests was talking about protecting our energy with the self-care too. And that is how you protect your energy, by taking care of yourself, taking care of your nervous system, taking care of grounded. It's not about shutting out the world. It's about making your system healthy and vibrant, and therefore you can become that radiance. And knowing who you are and willing to be brave through all of your experiences will teach you who you are, and to embrace the light of you, but embrace also the depth of you too, which is where your confidence and your sensuality and your boundaries come in too. That's the depth of you, which a lot of us women have a hard time accessing too. And that's where you're radiating, and that's where you're able to be that self-care and have that protection. Nothing can touch you, doesn't mean nothing bad ever going to happen, but it's like, it's not going to hurt you, because you're just going to keep regenerating more of that beautiful love and light that you're spreading out to the world. And fill it with yourself, that light that you're shining out, like your Care Bears, all you ladies, fill it in you too. That's a good visual for you to do.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's so hard, right? How do we come back to love? What do you do for yourself, Jennifer, when you bring yourself back to love? What do you do? How do you share to someone to do that?
I think because we're all friends here, we listen to each other and we support each other in a very non-judgmental way. And I think that's been, the grace of God for all of us. And how we do that can be, sometimes it's through the higher concepts of reminding each other, don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are. We might get a little bit into that tough love, but it could be something as simple as, do you want me to go kick their butt for you because somebody's hurt your feelings? Of course, you're not going to really do it. But
are you sure you're not going to do that?
I know.
This energy of it feels good.
God. Sure. We're going.
I would have used another word, but we're live and I'm trying to keep it a little filtered here too. But there have been times where my feelings have been hurt and someone's like, you want me to go kick there for you? And I'm like, I just got so happy.
Like, girl, tell me who did it, girl.
There's an inner because I felt protected. I felt like someone had my back and was protective of me, especially for the inner child of me too. Yeah. So sometimes we need to hear that. Sometimes we need somebody to just validate our experience as it is. And then we can move into like the higher wisdom of that too. But on a practical level, I listen to a lot of music. I meditate. I try to, exercise if I can. I try to be very mindful of breathing. Talking things out is very helpful for me too. And paying attention to how the energy's moving, like you speak of, Debbie, too. So it's consistent. It's consistent work. I am highly, highly sensitive, and people tell me, oh, you're one of the most sensitive of all the sensitive. And I don't know any different. I just know what I'm like. So I know my nervous system, I have to be very, very careful to take care of my health too. And I learned that the hard way, because I was isolated, last year in the heat and wasn't able to go out and be in nature and be in and getting my normal exercise routine and things like that. And it really was very, very challenging for me. And as soon as the weather calmed down, I was like, whoa, what a difference for my nervous system to be able to be out in nature and be moving the energy. We've got to move the energy.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Magic beans and climb the beanstalk.
Yeah, that's what's up, Jack. That's what's up. he has a magic garden with the fairies, and he's got all the, mystical angels. But really, I think if you look at our energy and we're moving it, right? So energy, our stories are part of us, how we transmute or change it, taking care of how we respond. And like you said, nature moves it, the wind, the water, the elements of the earth, working with the fire, the energies are there. Think about putting your hand in plants and working in a garden, or moving, doing simple things, simplify your life in a way where even if you have to bring your energy in, moving the energy out with exercising, detoxing, sweating, music, dancing. And I know it's hard when we hurt and we're crying. And I'll tell you my own grief with my mom. Like just recently, I'm a year and a half after her passing. I would cry. And I would sit there and I would look at things and I would want to sleep. And, people would say, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you still looking at pictures and you're crying? I said, it just popped up and I'm crying and leave me alone. I don't care. Sometimes I would cry like a big baby, but it would require to let other people hold space for you. One day I went into a sacred ceremony and I knew my heart needed healing. I knew my grief was deeper and I knew that I wanted to let spirit come in to help, but I also knew I had to do my part, which required me leaving the house, going in person and showing up to a ceremony, participating with other people who are also going into this journey. Whether we're giving gratitude or we're asking for healing, there's a process and intent with a thought to change, to feel better. Our bodies are our temple, and we speak about this, but we don't speak about it often enough because I did not take care of my body when I was taking care of other people. I did not take care of myself when I was needed other areas until I was able to get the power to say, I matter and I need to take care of me and I want to feel good. I want to live. And it's like you want to have that energy shift, and it takes time to get there. So if it doesn't happen now, it will eventually get there with the thought of wanting to feel better and how that looks like for you. Vitamins, doctor appointments, all of those things are going to unfold into a spiritual journey because it all exists. It's a package. It's a lifestyle. So, I can go on and on. I'm going to sit back and
that it is. But you said the key words, I want to live. I want to live.
Yeah.
And that is really the awakening, is what do you want? To live.
And Debbie, you're when you lose a parent, when you lose anybody, it's hard. Your parent, your mom, your dad. I think that we move through life thinking that we're all invincible and we're not going anywhere. And Debbie, you speak about that you're a year and a half into it, and I'll tell you, you already know it's a process. It's a journey of each day. Feeling a little bit better, even though you're never going to be that same person again. That is a loss in your life. I'm 10 years into losing my mom. And I will tell you, the freshness to, fast forward to 10 years, I talk to you and we talk about our moms, and it takes me right back to that place of like, it just happened. Like that the love is just so deep, and selfishly, we want them here with us all the time.
Right.
And, I think again, we know we have the peace of knowing that they are still here with us, but, we would like to have them here in the physical form, and, it hurts.
Right.
And, when you guys talk about, how do you move through love and hurt and all of that? And I'll tell you, I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that you still don't know how to do it.
Right.
And, I'll tell you, a lot of days I'm still out of body. I don't know. I have to kind of like wake myself up, like what's happening? Like, you're fine. Everything's good. And I have to bring myself back to a place of love and healing. But I think we all get lost along the way, and that's also perfectly normal. So please know that. And, if you feel out of body, that's okay. Try to ground yourself and, do all those things. And sometimes we just don't think about it. We just move through life just knowing, well, we know we got to do this today. We got to do this today. And you're like a robot kind of going through it, going through the motions.
I think what comes to my mind when you say that is we have to learn to create a new, different way of living. Yeah. Because the memories are so deep with anyone that we love or that we have lost, or ourselves and how we used to once be, because we die every day. As someone says, there's always a death and rebirth within our spirit and our energy. And, you know, when we go through those, it's like, what is your new day going to look like for you? And how will you create the change for better? And how will you start to live differently? And so these are things that do start to eventually come to the surface. We have to go back into self-discovery, and we have to go back. It's not have to, but we have no choice because we're in it. So when you're in it, you're forced to live differently from your routines of what you were accustomed to, you know, taking care of a loved one. For those that are listening, you know, have a thing where you're used to saying, hey, have a good day, I love you, hon, or hey, you know, and this is going back to people who even had gone through divorces or lost a job, or, you know, everything changes. And so how we work through that is a day-to-day process. And man, do we need grace and a whole lot of love, because I tell you,
indeed.
And so I just say to all of you who are in this stage, you're not alone. We've all been through it, and we know love is the key ingredient, but it's okay to be hurt, and it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to honor the grief, and it's okay to have the dark emotions. Don't push them down and let them come to the surface, and give yourself grace if it happens, because it's part of a reaction of what you're in. It's part of it. Get someone who can help and hold space for you.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Debbie. Thank you. And everybody's relating because, you know, everybody's gone through loss. And as mediums, even though we are bringing those messages from spirit on a regular basis, we still miss our people too, very, very much. And, you know, Jack was saying he uses the smell of his mom's clothes and holding them to help bring her back too. And there's so many different ways we can light a candle, listen to the music that reminds us of them or their favorite song, you know, do things that make us think of them, and it brings them closer. And I know that spirit world appreciates when we keep their memory alive, because they're still here, just in a different way, you know, they're still here. But it doesn't make the grief, you know, the grief is still going to be there too. And it comes and goes, and the waves too. And this is why forgiveness, you know, and it can take its time. We can't force it on people before they're ready, but this is the gift of forgiveness, is it gives you more time with that person. It gives you more time with them.
But then it goes back to where you started the conversation, how we go into the worlds of the different planes, and we can feel into the love, and that's where they're at. And I'm very fortunate to be able to smell, like Jack says. I can smell my mother when she's near. I can feel her. I have the gift to work with her differently. She had an illness that affected her mind. And so there was those moments where I already grieved her before she passed. You know, I had those moments where I wanted to share with her, oh, this happened, but I knew her illness would not be able to comprehend. Here in the spirit world, she's constantly cheering me on. I see this happening. And so I have a different relationship. I do have a gift to connect with her differently. And that is a true experience of where you say, Jennifer, are we in that reality? What is real? And that state, that fine line that we dance, I'll take the fine dance and I'll stay in that delusional mind. If it's mine, I'll take it and I will create with it. And I'll say, I will do the dance with what's real, and what may not be real to you, it's real to me. So I embody that and bottle it up like a little bottle of genie magic. So
we've talked all about the illusions, and so we know this physical reality is very flexible and malleable, and that's why things can pop in and out of nowhere and change, and why recollections, you know, group consciousness recollections can be very different. So we know that, and as the Mad Hatter said to Alice when she said a dream isn't reality, and he says, oh, but Alice, who's to say which is which?
Right.
So that is the question. Is it over there, or is it right here? You know, so we do the dance, especially
dance,
mediums,
girl. Let's dance.
You know, we all know the dance very well. We'll just kind of bring this up just a little bit here too, and it's interesting because I saw a post earlier that was the word transcending, we use that word a lot, and we use it as kind of like rising above or moving past, and they separated it into trance ending, as if it kind of like the waking up out of like the sleeping self or so forth. And I thought trance ending, and I'm like, interesting. Is that the trance? Because we're trance medium. Is that the trance? Is this the trance? It's all a trance, what is the real? And this brings me to Dana Louise, where she was quoting another teacher that said that which does not change, and so what is the thought behind the trance? What is the intelligence? That right there, that is us. And then all of these beautiful dreams that we're living in, but don't we make the most of them? And you're right, people can call us whatever they want, but boy, we have fun. And part of light energy, especially as females, is the belief in the fairy tale, belief in the magic.
Yeah.
That is that, who wants to lose that? Because we did.
I know. I love it.
A lot of us did, and we're reclaiming it back, because that dark night of the soul pushed us through there. It's like descending down into the underworld, and you coming back up to the top and out the other side and back into the light. And there you are reborn once again too. And we want that back. That inner child needs that love. That inner child is the spirit of us too. So keep your fairy tales alive, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's important.
I say fly with the pixie dust.
Sparkle,
What do you say? Ta-da! This is what you get after the pixie dust.
Little fairy dust.
I think we've earned the right. I know what all of us have been through some very difficult moments in life. Different but difficult. We've been through loss, in different areas of our lives. As if all of you too, we all know what loss is, and we all know what love is too. And this is the dance that we go through. It's consistent, and sometimes it's a crazy dance where it feels like the jugglers are coming in and twisting you around and pulling you every which way, and you're like, get me on this floor. And then sometimes it's a little slow waltz, and sometimes you're just standing there still, and you're just right there in the stillness, and it's still a dance.
Right.
So
our body knows what to do. Our body really, even if you can't understand why you're traveling or you're going into those different planes, embrace it and say, okay, my body is receiving.
Yeah.
Embrace it, accept it. There's true energy coming through that's soothing you. And sometimes when we don't understand it, we want to push it away. But I'm being guided. I feel that this needs to be said, is like, when there is mystery and there's unexplained things, we can't put a word to it. It's because it's more magic. It's magical. It's loving. And so our body needs that in a way that we may not even understand it until we actually ascend, and that's okay. We don't need to know everything. No. It's all part of the goodness of the energy that is part of our life force to sustain us, to keep elevating and transcending. So.
The miracles, the mystical of it, all of it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Very well said.
One beautiful thing I think that can come as a teaching and a learning, for people that we have lost in our lives, is that, the hope too is that for you to realize that, we're only here for a limited time to learn and grow, and, to maybe, be quicker to have forgiveness, be quicker to maybe not sweat some of the small things, and, have more peace and joy and love in your life and happiness, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also too, look at it as sometimes Jennifer said it earlier. It could be the person is going through something personal and it's not meant for you. It's not directed at you. It's looking at it as taking yourself out of the situation and not inserting yourself in the problem, and taking it back and giving yourself grace. And if you feel inclined to send them a prayer or to say something for them, if you see something that is a little different, you can change it with that thought of saying, I wish them well, or I wish them love.
Yeah.
Or just changing it in a beautiful way. Redirect it.
Love is the biggest transformation. And if you're not able to do it in that moment, you can ask someone to do it for you. Somebody will pray for you.
Great idea.
If you can't say a prayer because you're so hurt and feeling so, rejected or betrayed, someone can pray for you, and it still works.
And we all pray for each other. I'll tell you straight up. I have had Jennifer pray for me. We've all, girl, where you go? I'm going to go say some prayers. Let me throw your name in there. My group. Who wants to be added in the prayers? I'm going to church today. I'm going to the mission. I'll throw it to my circle. I got a little circle. Who wants to be added in my prayers? I'm going in.
I do that too. I like candles at the mission too, because of the energy is more amplified there too, because so many people are praying there, and the ritual of the flame to the matter to the air, right? It's bringing all of the elements together, and it spreads the prayer into the ethers too, which is quite beautiful, and mysterious indeed that it is too. And so much for us I wish we could talk about this for hours, but I am thinking about the time for us too. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Like the song, time keeps on slipping.
You're gonna start rapping, Nancy.
Love is the only thing that's real. Amen, Jennifer. Thank you. So any last minute words, Nancy and Debbie, before we say goodbye?
Just love yourself. Just give yourself the love that you need. You deserve it.
Absolutely.
I feel like I want to say this journey can be very misunderstood, and it's not our job to correct one's point of view, but to continue to feed that love that your spirit is searching for, and give yourself an opportunity to ground in your passion, your desires, so they come to fruition. We're all going through a change, and it's because we want to have better. And so it's not about letting people try to understand you. It's more about letting your soul grow into what your spirit is manifesting. And so give yourself permission, give yourself that love to reach that higher potential. That's what I get.
I love that. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Thank you both for joining me. And Nancy, we're looking forward to your mediumship on Sunday for the Love of Spirit. It's going to be a beautiful Sunday. Indeed, I want to say morning for us here in California and evening for those in the UK as well. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us, all of our beautiful friends, guests that have been on too, and for your interaction with all of us. It means the world to us. It keeps the energy flowing. And please remember, you've been in the healing ever since you came on this, because together it is another form of amplified energy. So just by showing up, you've been in the power, you've been with spirit, and your angels, guides, and helpers and higher self have been able to give you some kind of gift today that will help you ascend and keep growing and moving into your beautiful futures. I wish you a very happy weekend. I wish you all the blessings in life, because you indeed do deserve all of the happy things: joy, happiness, grace, abundance, peace, and tranquility, and respect, and dignity, and all of those beautiful things in life. They are your birthright too. So we're just unfolding it as we go. So with that said, may all of this beautiful love, all of this healing, and all of this fun and joy that we've shared together, let it be amplified, let it be multiplied infinitely, so that every form of consciousness in this world and beyond the beyond feels loved, seen, heard, and cared for. And peace. Let us all have that beautiful peace. So
Amen.
With that, amen. Thank you.
Amen, girl. Woo!
Please remember to come on shortly for Kelly's show. She's going to be on soon. Kelly, are we doing the psychic hour or the numerology hour? I can't remember. I think it's numerology. So have a quick snack and then come back on over. And she'll be streaming live as well. And don't forget, Debbie will be on Wednesday. We've got Sunday service this Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. in the UK. And that's 1 p.m. if you're on Eastern time. And please, everybody, enjoy the sunshine. Have a beautiful weekend. And we love you all so very much. And we will see you next Friday on Embracing Infinity. Take good care, everybody. Bye,
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we're still live.